Well, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? This is my third attempt in making this video. I feel like Mars is already retrograding because I made just some silly mistakes and then made some computer mistakes and then some actual natural mistake by the camera where there was no audio in the middle, like 3 minutes. And so I uploaded the video and I'm watching, and then in the middle I just suddenly see that, whoa, what happened to the video? And my brain thought that I did check that, but so here it is. This is the final one. So today, as you know, we're going to do something different. We're going to be talking about Mars retrograde in 2014 and how it's going to affect each ascendant. And Mars is going to retrograde on March 1st to March 19th in the sign of Libra, or March 20th, and then from that point on, from March 24th to mid-May, it's going to be retrograding in the sign of Virgo. After that, it's going to go direct. So Mars is going to be retrograding in two different signs. And so how will this affect? And as always, if you do not know what your ascendant is or your rising sign and all your planetary placements and all the details of your horoscope, for that, check out the links here so you can get your full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including your numerology report. So Mars is going to be in the sign of Libra when it retrogrades. And then it's going to go into Virgo. So let's talk about what is Mars, first of all. Mars is a warrior, soldier, willpower, strength. It's your ability to go out and put forth your actions, to do something, to fight for the right thing. That's what Mars is. So, Mars is a very action-oriented planet. And Mars, obviously, as you know, represents engineering, represents mechanical things, represents even surgery, and represents, going and digging for the truth like an investigator. So Mars is quite a lot of things, but mainly it is our energy, it's our willpower, our strength, to go out and make things happen for the right things, for the right purpose. Because, as you know, soldier always follows the orders of the king. Now, what is the sign of Libra? And what is the sign of Virgo? Well, Libra represents mainly, if you were to choose one word for Libra, that represents relationships. Libra is all about harmonizing relationships, diplomacy. It's about maintaining your relationships. It's about creating new relationships. And Libra is all about relationships. And Libra also represents business and trade. Perhaps business and trade between two countries, two people, its interaction with other people to do trade. That's why Saturn is exalted in Libra. And then the sign of Virgo represents analytical, logical, detailed thinking. It's about going into details and making things perfect. It's about nitpicking all the flaws and taking them out. Virgo represents health and healing. Virgo also represents arguments, disputes, because it's ruled by Mercury. And this is one of the exalted places for Mercury. That means Mercury makes an argument to make things better. So dispute and argument doesn't mean something bad. It means you argue to make things better. You argue and you make disputes to make wrong things right. That's what Virgo is. Now, when Mars, is retrograde, what happens is instead of going outwards, his energy from a human body, it goes inwards. Meaning that people look inwards within them to find energy, to look for action within themselves. And by doing this, they have less energy to exert things out. So people kind of feel, people procrastinate a lot, kind of get lazy in this time period. At the same time, they feel this fear to take action. Why fear to take action? Because they feel that they're not sure of the action they're about to put out. Like they want to open up a business in this time period and they're like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I should do it. This is not the right time. Naturally, your body is just like telling you that, what, just wait. Let's just sit and chill and eat food before we go out and do the business. And what happens is, though, when Mars goes into certain signs, it tries to manifest its energy in words through those signs. So let's say Mars is going to be retrograding in Libra. What's going to happen is Mars is going to go back. And instead of creating new relationships, Mars is going to force you to go back and fix all the relationships that you need to fix. Whether it's your siblings, marriage, co-workers, business partners, children, father, mother, he's going to want to go back and make diplomacy in those relationships. Mars is going to want you to go back and make wrong things right. But because Mars is retrograde, what happens is Mars, in the most peaceful sign of Libra, Mars wants to make things diplomatic. Mars wants to make things work, like Mahatma Gandhi. He had Mars in Libra versus Adolf Hitler, who had Mars in Aries. Adolf Hitler's like, I'm going to shed blood for blood. And Libra, the peaceful sign of Mahatma Gandhi, said, I'm going to go out and fight, but I'm going to fight in a way where I'm not hurting anybody. Same way here, but because it's retrograde, it's going to want to put the blame on the other person. So let's say you are wanting to make things up with your kids. You haven't spoken to your kids in 2-3 years because of some fight, and now you want to reach out to them. But what will happen is you do go back and reach out, but you're like, in trying to make the diplomacy, you're like, you put the blame on the other person naturally. You're like, the reason why it didn't work out because you told me this, and this is what happened. So that's why I didn't speak to you. And what happens is, in this, the argument occurs again. Because Mars is a fiery energy, fighting energy. And Mars is naturally doing things so it can get into a battle. As much as it's a peaceful battle, you still get into these, disputes and arguments, even trying to make peace, because you're blaming it on the other person. Because diplomacy is about, look, forget what happened, let's make peace. So instead of, if you go back in this time, which you will, and you're going to try to work things out in terms of relationships and business dealing with previous people, you just do not want to go and blame them. Okay? But then what happens is, though, Mars moves into Virgo while retrograding at the same time. So now what happens is, in Virgo, Mars is very analytical and logical about looking at all the details and nitpicking all the details. But Mars hates doing that. When Mars considers Virgo as its very uncomfortable sign. Why? Because soldier doesn't want to read details, doesn't want to look at details. He just want to go out, swing his sword, kill as many people, and he looks at the broader picture. I killed 200 people, we won the war. Okay? Where now he is asked to not only kill them, but cut them this way and arrest these people and take these people and take their forms and submit them to the jail, submit them. It's like, I don't want to do this. I'm a soldier. Just give me a gun so I can kill. So in Virgo, Mars gets frustrated. And what happens is the argument and dispute part of Virgo really comes out. Mars becomes frustrated towards the Virgo aspect of your horoscope. That means you need to know where your ascendant is, okay, and your moon sign is. In those two particular houses from your ascendant and your moon chart, wherever Mars is placed, those are the two places that Mars is going to automatically get angry and get into disputes. He's going to be, very frustrated and trying to fix all the details, but because Mars is not that kind of a planet, you will try to fix something, let's say on your kitchen table, you're trying to fix a type of puzzle and you're playing. It's going to be so hard for your brain to just go and look at all the details. You'll just be like poking them down. Hey, come on, let's just happen. Where it doesn't happen because Mercury has the patience to look at the details. Mars doesn't. So here the arguments can happen. And since the sign of Virgo represents health and healing, you're going to go back trying to fix your health, trying to heal yourself, whether through alternative medication or any kind of medication. But what happens is here you probably end up becoming more sick. Or, you try to make yourself more healthy by eating everything right. And next thing you know, while you're eating right, you're gaining more weight. And you don't understand. Then what happens is you get frustrated. You're like, that's it, screw all this. And in this time period, from March 1st to March 20th or 19th, it's a very normal period. You're just going out and trying to make relationships better, trying to make business deals happen. And it's a peaceful sign. So even Mars is a hot fire planet being retrograde, it's still in a very, smooth environment. But when it goes into Virgo, that's when the real retrogression is seen of the Mars. And depending upon what ascendant you are, that's how these two signs will be affecting you. And you want to look at this, especially more than even moon sign, your ascendant, because your ascendant is the very first chart that Parashara, who wrote astrology, told you to look at. But he gave equally same importance to your moon sign. So that means you put your moon in the ascendant and all the planets will switch in your chart, and you'll see how you are behaving from, your mindset, how you're behaving from an alternative perspective of your ascendant. So it's equally important, like if this is your ascendant, this is your moon chart right below it. And then comes every other chart below it. But these two are very important, but ascendant is your main birth chart. This is why I always tell you to look for ascendant position of Mars first, more than anything else. So let's discuss your ascendants now. Okay. So for Aries ascendant, Mars is going to be retrograding in the 7th and 6th house. And what this shows is that you're going to want to try to, first of all, you're going to try to make things better with, your spouse, your business partner, or other people that you're interacting with. You're going to be very much inclined towards making peace, making things happen. But because Mars is retrograde, you're going to end up blaming the other people, and it may become an argumentative aspect. So don't try to do that. Don't try to blame other people. Try to make as much peace as possible with trade. But when it moves into Virgo, 6th house for Aries ascendant, that means your everyday routine is being affected. Your everyday routine, Mars is going to be interrupting it. Like if you go to jogging, you go to meditation, yoga, breakfast, and then you go to work, you probably will wake up late and half of the stuff will missing, and this will disrupt your everyday routine. In workplaces, if you have a routine, if you have a certain steps that you do at work, they might mess up. Okay, especially for computer programmers, they have this Mars Virgo position. You could be putting in wrong codes and get frustrated and then going back and refixing it. So watch for that. And obviously you can get into arguments with your coworkers or people that you work with, your everyday life, whether you have a home business, professional business, you're in a non-profit organization, wherever you're working, you can get into disputes with those people, with those, entities. Because of the fact, Mars is now trying to look at all the details. You're going to want everybody to fix all the details. And when they don't, you're going to get frustrated. Let's say Taurus ascendant, Mars is going to be transiting in the 6th and in the 5th house. So you as a Taurus ascendant is going to want to try to fix things at work. You want to make your routine better. You're going to want to make your health better. And at the same time, you are trying to find diplomacy in arguments. You're actually trying to really go out there and make peace. But because it's an argument house, Mars is a very planet, and Venus represents Libra represents relationship. Again, the same thing will happen, but not at the level where Virgo would have been. But because once it moves into the 5th house in the sign of Virgo, what will happen is you will get frustrated by looking at all the details in your education. You will probably miss your homework, you're writing a paper, you're making these mistakes, but at the same time, you are trying to discipline your children. You are, getting frustrated with all the details that you want your kids to do. Or perhaps you as a teacher want your students to do and you don't, and you get frustrated. You get angry at them, you become argumentative with them, you use harsh language. Because Mars and Virgo, again, it's a Mercurian ruled sign. So language becomes a very important part. So Mars is going to use very harsh language towards those things. For Gemini ascendant, Mars is going to be, transiting in the 5th and 6th house, 5th and 4th house. So for these people, they're going to want to try to make relationships better with kids that haven't worked out. People, with their romantic partners, they're going to want to make things more better, be more diplomatic towards their romantic interest, but just don't end up blaming them. In the 4th house, Mars is going to want to be in argument with the mother, with, people in home, because of the fact you're going to want to make your home very detail-oriented, clean place, but you're going to keep missing all these things yourself. and you're going to get frustrated, and that anger is going to lash out on other people because that energy is going to be brewing inwards this whole time when it's retrograde. So you want to watch out for that. Don't try to get into arguments in the home. Don't try to go into all the little details of cleaning the home because it's just not going to work out. Let it be. Cancer Ascendant, Mars is going to be retrograding in the 4th and 3rd house, where for these people, they're going to want to try to make peace with their mother and make, things beautiful at home. But at the same time, because Mars is retrograde energy, you're going to try to blame others for what has happened, and then you're going to try to fix them. So again, it becomes a very argumentative thing with there too, but not as much as the 3rd house. Where 3rd house, you're going to be pointing all the wrong detail that your siblings, your neighbors, your friends did to you, and then you're going to try to get into argument because you're going to be frustrated because those details that you are trying them to fix are not going to be fixed. You are going to be very much health conscious for your shoulders and this part of the body and your hands, and at the same time your communication is going to be very harsh, very crude, and you're going to be very angry towards your siblings because of what they might have done in the past. But at the same time, this is a very good time period to go back and finish your artistic project. Go back and finish your hobbies, your skills that you have developed that you love doing. It's time to go back and finish those things. Time to go back and revamp your skills of your artistic talent, whatever talent you have. Okay, because here Mars is going to give you that tremendous energy. For Leo Ascendant, Mars is going to be transiting in the 3rd house, retrograding, and then in the 2nd house, retrograding. So you're going to want to go back and fix relationships with your siblings, with your close neighbors and friends. And, you might just get frustrated by blaming it on them and not on yourself. In the 2nd house, you're going to be frustrated that why is all the money going out? Where all this money is going in? You're going to want to try to look at the details, and you're going to get frustrated because you're not going to be able to find all the details in home and how your assets are being spent, how your money is being spent, and you're going to get angry with people in your home. You're going to use very harsh language at this time period overall with everybody because 2nd house is speech, 2nd house is your voice. You're going to be very hard with these people, and at the same time, these arguments are going to come because of the fact you are going into details where Mars doesn't like to be. For Libra Ascendants, they're going to want to create a better relationships with themselves. For Libra Ascendant people, they're going to want to work on themselves more. They're going to want to make themselves look more beautiful, look more perfect. But in doing so, they're also going to be, very frustrated because anytime they want to do this in the time period, they're not going to be satisfied with it. As much as they're going to want to make themselves look beautiful, fit, try to find peace within themselves, they're again going to end up blaming themselves that, what, I'm so bad, I'm so this, I'm so negative, I'm not worth it, I'm not, worthy of these things. Same thing while Mars was in the 2nd house. Mars is going to have these people criticize their self-worth. So for Leo Ascendant people, which I forgot to mention, you're going to criticize yourself for, I'm not worth it. No matter what I do, I can't just finish anything. I hate myself. Now, for Libra Ascendant, Mars is also going to retrograde in the 12th house. That means it's going to kind of disturb your meditation, your spiritual life, your sadhana, yoga. And as much as you want to have that routine going of that, it's going to kind of disturb that fact. You're going to be very critical of your yoga teachers or your spiritual teachers. You're not going to find satisfaction in those things because that energy is not brewing inside. It's not really going out there and putting the forth effort to do things. Because in this time period, Mars is feeling lethargic. Mars just wants to play the blame game in this time period. But because of the fact meditation is the solution for this energy to calm down, you need to stick to that meditation. You need to stick to that spiritual routine that you have. What's going to happen? These people are going to be tied in all the little details that's going to mess up their perhaps foreign travel. You're going to forget your itinerary to the airport. You might forget this and that, your machinery like cell phones. You're going to, get frustrated and get angry in foreign lands at somebody, and you're getting to arguments people while you're traveling. So that's where your subconscious mind is going to be like all over the place. It's going to be thinking all the negative aspects of your life and trying to go back and fixing them psychologically You're not going to be able to. So it's just a frustrating thing. For Scorpio Ascendant, Mars is going to be, retrograding in the 12th and 11th house. 12th house is Libra, 11th house is Virgo. Mars is going to want to make more peace and have more congenial relationships with their spiritual gurus. Mars is going to want to try to find peace in yoga, meditation, tai chi, in foreign travel. Okay. However, this is not going to be actually such a bad thing. Mars is not going to be very argumentative here because of the fact 12th house itself is a very peaceful energy, very peaceful, place for any planet to be in. And while Mars is in Libra, diplomatic, the retrogradation is simply going to make them go back and perhaps do the spiritual routines that they forgot to do, or do the spiritual routine that they always wanted to do. Like these people are going to be like, you know what, I never tried yoga, let me go back and try yoga. I never gave a chance to Vedic astrology, let me go back and see what Vedic astrology is all about. But in the 11th house, you're going to be, very angry and using harsh language with your professional networks, your network circle. Because you're going to look at all the details of how they're treating you, how they're helping you with your network. And when you don't see that, you're going to get into arguments with them. You're going to want to nitpick all the details and you're going to miss half the details because that's not what Mars does. And then he's going to lash out at them. So try to keep congenial relationships with your professional network or your elder sibling. Don't try to get frustrated with them because something doesn't work out, because it was not supposed to work out. That's what you got to understand. In this time period, it's not supposed to work out. So as much as you try, it's just going to keep you reverting back. For Sagittarius Ascendant, Mars is going to be retrograding in the 11th and 10th house. So in the 11th house, you're going to want to go back into your lost network and create a better relationships with them. But again, you may end up blaming them for not being in your life right now as a network, as a friend, your elder sibling. You're going to want to go back and say, you know what, I need to make things happen here. Well, I lost all touch with my network, my co-workers from the past, all of these things. And then when you meet them, you'll be like, you know what, yeah, because you left, you did this, and don't try to do that. In your 10th house in career, Mars and Virgo is going to be very argumentative with people in the work field, in the career field. Their reputation is going to be known as, oh my God, this guy just wants to fight and argue right now with everybody. Mars has the energy to become a workaholic. And in the 10th house of career, you're going to be going all over the place looking for different careers. You're going to be applying to 200 different jobs because Mars is going to want to do that. And yet at the same time, when you get the opportunity to go for that work, you're going to feel lazy, lethargic. So it's a very confusing time, but do not overdo yourself. Here, Mars is exalted in the 10th house, naturally. So Mars has a natural energy, but he may use his energy too much or too little. You may go out and exhaust yourself trying to look for jobs, and then when the actual job comes, you don't have the energy to do it. So that could happen. For Capricorn people, Mars is going to be retrograding in the 10th and 9th house. That means you're going to want to make more peaceful relationships at work. You're going to want to make good relations and be diplomatic at work. And in the 9th house, you're going to argue with your gurus, with your teachers, with your professors, your father, what your father is telling you to do. You're not going to try to follow that. You're going to criticize them. You're going to be like, you did this, and this, and now you want me to do this. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. Don't do that, because that can really hurt you, because 9th house is your bhagya, your luck house. And if Mars is there, retrograde in Virgo, you can really hinder your relationships with some of the best gurus out there that can actually help you elevate, So if you have a mentor, you're trying to go for PhD, don't get frustrated if he's not really helping you out. Wait till this time period is over in mid-May and then go out and ask for help. They might be critical of you, and then you're going to get critical of them in this time period. For Aquarius Ascendant, Mars is going to be transiting in the 9th house and the 8th house. So in the 9th house, you're going to find more peace and diplomacy with your gurus and your teachers. You're going to try to find more, congenial relationships and find more artistic expression, and have the energy to find artistic expression in philosophy, religion, spirituality. But at the same time, you might, blame them for certain things that they didn't teach you in past. You might blame them, you know what, you could have taught me this better in the past, but that's okay. And that might create a little bit of heat. See, I'm not really worried about Mars in Libra retrograde. It's the Virgo. in the 8th house. You're going to want to be investigating. You're going to think and criticize that there are a certain group of people that are secretly trying to go after you, secretly trying to, go behind your back and scheme behind your back. Here, Mars is going to be digging for the truth. He's going to be frustrated because he wants to look at all the details of what is happening, beneath the surface. Like, people are going to be very energetic about going into occult studies and finding that it is too hard. They don't want to look at the details. They just want to know now. Like people just say, I don't want to read your book or this and that. I just want to know now, where that's not the thing. Nobody will help you. Nobody has more vested interest in you than you. You need to know astrology. That's your dharma, to know astrology. That's why you have to read the books, look at the chart. Don't just go to astrologers. But that's where Mars, and 8th house is transformation. And Mars is going to be frustrated with whatever sudden transformation comes. And Mars is going to want to fix it again, because that's what Virgo sign does. It wants to fix everything again, which is chaotic. And it's going to get more chaotic if you try to fix that. Let it be. Let that transformation come and let it be. And what happens is 8th house represents things beneath the surface of Earth, like dead people. You're going to be frustrated trying to have a communication with people that have passed away. You're going to criticize people who have passed away. You're going to be criticized. If you hated your father, you're going to go back to his grave and criticize him. You did this and this and this. Forget you. I'm glad you're dead. That's where the criticism is going to come towards. You're going to criticize people in the occult. You're going to criticize people who are, perhaps even in the mining business, oil business. You're going to criticize these companies if you're working in there. You're going to say, you're all doing these things wrong, And you're going to, as an investigator, you're going to try to investigate something with all the details. You're going to miss half the details. So if you're a detective and you're on a murder case in this time period, don't be surprised if you miss some of the big details here. Because Mars wants to look at the broader things, not the nitpicking details. So that's where you might feel lazy and you'll just go inwards and get angry at yourself. For Pisces Ascendant, Mars is going to retrograde in the 8th and 6th house. 8th and 7th house. In the 8th house, Mars is going to be more diplomatic towards the people who have passed away. Mars is going to find a much better and a peaceful transition into any sudden transformation that happens in their life. But mainly what we want to concentrate on is the 7th house. Because now you're going to argue and criticize your partner, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your business partner, anybody you run into in this time period. For Pisces and people, anybody can frustrate you, where you're going to criticize them, use harsh language towards them, and you're just going to then want to go back and fix that, and you're going to be able to. You're going to want to pinpoint all the wrong details that your spouse or your business partner did, and that's going to make things even worse. So if you feel you need to criticize your partner, don't. Because right now you're looking at all the wrong things towards them. When the mid-May period passes and Mars goes direct, that's when Mars is not going to be retrograde in Virgo. It's going to go direct. It'll have the energy to go out and fight and fix the things that need to be fixed. It will finally be able to see the details. Because even though it doesn't see the details, it'll be a lot better when it's retrograde. And here's another thing. Do not mistake retrogression in your birth horoscope with the retrogression in the current transit. If Mars is retrograde in your birth horoscope, he has a complete different energy than what Mars is doing in transit. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Mars retrograde in 2014. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know again where your Mars is and what your ascendant is and your moon sign, for that, check out the links here and look at all the good stuff. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.